everybody, this is Nick. Welcome back to my channel, Nick's Preparedness. Today I want to take a few minutes, go over some basic household electrical things that might come up if you've had a storm pass by, some sort of power failure, or something happen in your home. But before we get started on this, if you're enjoying the content of these videos, please do me a favor, click the like button, subscribe to my channel if you haven't, check out the website at nickspreparedness.com, and let me know what you think in the comment section. I really appreciate it. In all of the homes built in the United States, probably since the mid-70s, we've had circuit breakers. That way, if anything goes wrong with the system, the idea is the circuit's interrupted, it builds heat, the breaker flips, and whatever it is protected or doesn't get hotter and then cause a fire. They don't always work, but they're an important part of our fire and electrical safety system in the house. So I'd like to take a few minutes, go over that, explain breakers, why they trip, what we might have to do about them, and when we need to get a professional involved. So let's get started by opening the breaker box. Now this is a common breaker box that's in most houses. Now some will have an outside box that'll have some of the 240 volt breakers and a main breaker leading in to power all the insides, which are usually 110 volt. Most of the breaker boxes now will be directly inside. They'll have the mains come in and you'll have a main breaker, which is this 200 amp up top. Below it, we've got all the different breakers supplying all the different power in this house. We've got one for the heat, one for the air conditioner, a hot water heater. Then we get down in here to the 120 volts for some of the smaller appliances that don't draw as much energy. Now I'm going to move in and give you a close-up and explain these breakers and what happens when one of them trips or you need to turn it off. Now it's a little hard to see perfectly, but you'll notice when you get inside of a breaker box on your own that there'll be usually two types of breakers. There'll be some that have a connector between both of them, and those are your 240 volts. Most of them are ones like your air conditioner, your hot water heater, your electric stove, electric dryer, and your heat. Now the ones below this that are single poles are all 120 volts, like your outlets, your lights, and most of the other smaller appliances, the dishwasher. Since those don't need the voltage and sometimes the amperage that the larger appliances need, they'll only need one pole on the breakers. Now sometimes we find out that we've run too many appliances on one plug or circuit, like running an iron or a hair dryer or another appliance that draws a good bit of energy, and we'll flip the breaker. Now what this does is cause the breaker to get hot and pop open. Now that's completely off, but there's a setting somewhere right here in the middle that it'll pop to when the breaker's been overloaded. So what you have to do to reset a breaker is push it all the way to off and then back on. Now it's very important if you popped a breaker or blown a fuse, if you happen to have some of the screw-in fuses at older homes, to make sure you know why that happens. These are symptoms of an electrical issue. Many times, it's like I mentioned earlier. You had an iron plugged in, a hair dryer plugged in, maybe the microwave going, a lot of amperage going through the same circuit because they're all plugged in to one run of plugs that go back to one breaker. But if you don't know exactly what caused it, make sure you check. A lot of times this indicates that there's a wiring problem either in the appliance or in the electrical wires in your house, and that's shorting out, causing the breaker to pop, and that's protecting it from getting hot and causing a fire. If you reset everything and it does it again, it's time to call in an electrician and make sure that you don't have any fire hazards. Another type of circuit breaking device that commonly trips in the home is called a ground fault circuit interrupter, or GFCI. They're most commonly found in bathrooms and kitchens, usually within 5 to 6 feet of any source of water. Building codes require that you have a ground fault circuit interrupter. Now what these do different than a normal circuit breaker is sense the slight resistance of the electricity if it's going through something like our body and pop out. That saves people from getting electrocuted around water. A normal circuit breaker protects wiring and equipment. A ground fault circuit interrupter protects people. You need to make sure that these are installed and working, and anytime you're working around water with electricity, like a shop vac in a wet area, you need to make sure that it's either plugged into a ground fault circuit interrupter plug like this, or you need to use a ground fault circuit interrupter extension on your extension cord. Because of the nature of these, they're a little bit easier to trip, so what you have to do is look at the buttons right there in between the two plugs. There's one that'll be labeled test and one that'll be labeled reset. If something ever trips these, make sure you press the reset button until you hear it click, then try again. Normally that'll fix the problem. I'm making this video today just to cover some of these basic things around the house that might happen, so you don't have to call out an electrician just because a plug quits working or a light pops. You can go around, check your breakers, check your ground fault circuit interrupters, and see what's going on. But always remember, electricity is a major hazard. Not only can you be electrocuted, but it can start a fire. So if you're having any trouble identifying what the actual problem is, if your breakers keep popping after you reset them, make sure you get a hold of an electrician that can come out, check, and make sure it's not something internal in an appliance or in your electrical system inside the home that can cause a fire or electrocute you later. I appreciate you watching this video. I hope you got a lot out of it. If you did, remember, like the video, leave me a comment in the description, subscribe, click the red bell in the corner to get new videos when they come out, and visit my site at Preparedness.com. And remember, get better and stay ready.